Hey, welcome to Crash Course Kids. My name is Tran, and we are not a knockoff of Crash Course. Dan, roll the intro. So during the 1900s, there were many changes. So this would include changes within the interactions of humans and the environment, interactions of cultures, wars, expansion, conflicts, and economic systems, along with social structures. Yes, women, we will be talking about that at one point. But besides all of that, starting off with theme one, which is basically the interactions of humans and the environment. So a common issue that happened to occur was the death of humans. All right, we tried to stop that, and we did a pretty good job. We developed vaccinations, better medicines, so chemo and all these different types of things which help us not die. So, for example, the flu vaccine, as I was saying earlier, the flu vaccine stopped many people from dying from the flu. So, for example, in World War I, millions of people died, not from their wounds, but just from, disease. The Spanish flu was a terrible thing, which killed everyone. But that's not the worst thing that happens. But the Spanish flu, while it may have been decreased so that it's no longer a problem anymore, we keep going back in time with genocides, alright? So what's the point of having all of these different types of medicines which stop us from killing each other when we keep having another genocide every 20 years? We got the Rwandans, the Holocaust, and Cambodia, all in a relative short amount of time. So why are we going back in time? And it doesn't help us that we don't care about it anymore when we have things like smartphones. Look, I even went on my smartphone during the little tape that you guys just saw. We live in a society that requires, it's just cell phone dependent and we can't be off it. Anyways, before we continue, please like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to comment. Dan's keeping me hostage. My leg is chained up, and I need help. Please call 911. I cannot leave it before I finish this video. Hello? Dan, you slide dog. You cut the landlines, didn't you? So I couldn't call for help. So I'd be stuck here to take this stupid AP World video. Alright, besides that, the cutting of the landline reminds others of the rise of communism and how it was suppressing different types of information. Now, let's go to the open letter. Fudge. Ah, pickles. Ah, shiz now. What is this, Dan? Oh, Yushanka, Dan. You shouldn't have. An open letter to Stalin. The second best mustache model in the world, right after to yours truly, Adolf Hitler. Stalin, you might have had one of the strongest nations during the 1920s and all the way up to the 90s, but you always forgot one thing, your rise in communism. Because of your competition with capitalist America, you kept building nukes. We don't need this many nukes, Stalin. You could have been a great country if you weren't authoritarian and communist. Best wishes, Kenny Tran. So with the introduction of the car in the 19th century, the world was going to move faster. And with it moving faster, there would be more genocides, more wars, and more death that would occur. To combat this, the UN or the United Nations would be created to combat any such conflicts. We can best see this in the Rwandan genocide when Belgian UN soldiers were, I guess you could say, helping the Rwandan citizens out from being, killed. So the UN was never always in existence as we all wish it was. During the First World War, which was started by Serbia, all the blame was placed on Germany, unsurprisingly. And because of all the blame was placed on Germany, they had to pay a huge amount of war reparations to the world, which was infeasible, which then sparked the Great Depression. But with this Great Depression, there would be a new rise in a new form of government, fascismo from Mussolini, unsurprisingly. And with fascismo starting in Italy and then soon spreading to Germany, it would see the rise of Nazism and fascism in Europe. This would be the unification of a nation through nationality, which would also involve putting the blame on a certain ethnic group, the Jews. And with this, the help of the extermination, there were new weapons of war, such as the tank and the plane. The tank and the plane were influential in the development of war in that it helped kill people faster, which seems to be a common theme with this century. Dan, keep it rolling. So during the 60s and 70s, because of America's, general look on African Americans, African Americans were one of the poorest ethnic groups in America because they were never given any opportunities. This led to the rise of the civil rights movement in the 1960s. We saw influential people like Truman and MLK producing speeches about how there should be an equality between all races of human being, which is nice to say, going from genocides. Besides that, so now we continue on into the early 21st century. While there's the new introduction of birth control, this would include pills, cups, rings, and condoms. My favorite. So with this, now comes the idea of the choice of birth, which was never a possible thing back in the day. So 1950s, if you got someone pregnant, you had to marry them. But now if you get someone pregnant, you can have an abortion. While that topic is still very, very highly debated, I won't get into that. So anyways, besides that, so now that there's the choice of birth, there is now more choices for the American people and people around the world on what they want to do with their lives. So this now leads to a modernization of society. This modernization could include suburbans and more urban areas, but it would see the decline of rural areas, now which would lead to world hunger. But the Green Revolution, guys, that still solved it, but still, world hunger is still a problem. So today in Cram course, you learned about the interactions of humans in the environment, cultures, along with state building, expansion, conflict, and the interaction of economic systems, along with the transformation of social structures within the world during the 21st century. Now, special thanks to Carl Gonzalez for letting us use his house, Daniel being, Dan, he still has me locked up, and Nigiri Yachty just for being good company. Also thank you to Shrey Shah for existing. Alright, best wishes, Kenny Tran.